It is the Y&R Mini Spotlight. I'm James Lott Jr., and I'm here with two of the newer members of the Y&R staff. You recognize them both. They both give me good hair. I love it. We talked about hair earlier. I love their hair. He plays Noah. She plays Allie. They're part of two major families, Rory Gibson and Kelsey Wang. Hi, you guys.
Hey, how's it going, James?
So you both are part of these two, the Abbotts and the Newmans. Who has filled you in on the family shenanigans in history? Has anybody filled you and said, okay, Kelsey, here's who I'm related to you and you're related to me? Has anybody both told you that kind of in each of your families?
Yeah, I ask him these questions.
Oh, you do?
I'm like,
and I act like I know what I'm talking about. And I just really quickly text someone and try to get the information.
I'm like, wait, are you related to Summer? And then he didn't give me a whole family tree about it.
Yeah. I try.
Yeah.
Because yeah, he's related to Summer. That's his cousin.
No, Summer's my sis.
Your sister, that's right. That's right. I confused myself. That's right. She's your sister. That's right. But she's not related to you, Kelsey. They thought she was back in the day, but she's not an Abbott. She's close to Jack, but she's not an Abbott.
She's my aunt.
She's your aunt-in-law.
Aunt-in-law. That's fun to say.
Oh yeah, by marriage.
By marriage,
right?
Yeah,
yeah, by marriage. But yeah, but you guys are kind of. That's why soaps is so. It's all everybody's related to everybody. You gotta be careful who's going on. I was like, wait a minute, can Kelsey and Noah talk to each other? Yes, Kelsey and Noah.
When she first came on,
Noah.
I was like, we're not related, like in any way, right? And I was like, all right, we're good. We're in the clear. No worries.
What do you? Yeah. It looks like it looks like they're leaning. We can't tell spoilers or anything. It looks like they're leaning towards you guys. It's been very sweet. As actors, what have you both seem like we have a great rapport. What have you guys have been doing to kind of build some kind of chemistry, or is it just there, you think?
I would say it's a mix. I mean, it's definitely just there naturally too. I mean, she's super easy to talk to, and she's a super chill girl. But when she first got hired, before she started filming, we grabbed lunch a couple of times, and it just made it that much easier. And it was a good time. It was fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think just getting to know each other personally.
Yeah, that's it.
And then he's such a gentleman and like makes me feel so comfortable in all the scenes. And I think that's huge and so important, is to really just have someone you feel really comfortable and also like as a friend, like in your personal life. I think it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. Now, both of you guys were thrown into some heavy storylines recently, and I wanted to praise you both. I mean, seriously, on our show, and the fans have praised you both for this. I'm gonna start with you, Kelsey, first, because you're in these scenes with Peter Bergman, Michelle Stafford, Susan Walters.
I know.
Like, seriously, girl, you held your own. But like, there's all this stuff going on, and you're right there too, going, wait a minute. Like, so what was that? You got really thrown into this. So what has it been like for you with those three powerhouses, everything?
You know, I really tried not to think about that. I was like, I'm just going up against Michelle Stafford, Peter Bergman in my first scene ever on Y&R. And then, like 2 weeks later, let me just introduce Susan Walters onto the show. Yes. And then the showdown between Peter Bergman, and I'm just standing there like, and then I have to like get into it too. And I was just like, I remember that day when we did that scene where they introduced Susan Walters, and I mean, Peter Bergman, and the director was like, that is the scene. And I was like, and that was when I started to first feel like, okay, I can do this. Like, I was in that. They are both such champions of young people. And given Michelle Stafford as well, just like, I think the veterans here are so lovely. And I know Josh does the same thing. Sharon, Josh does the same thing for you. Just like, I mean, the other day I was asking Sharon, I was like, what do I wear to the daytime Emmys? And like, she like came over later to me. I was like, talked even more about it. I think everyone has been so lovely to the new actors and really like guided them, especially for me. Like, I sit down, I have chats with Peter all the time. So.
Oh, Peter's the best. He's been on the show. He's the best. And we also got to work with Eileen Davidson. I know her too, and she's wonderful. Is she beautiful? Is she beautiful? Like, just like you look at her, go, she's nice and she's beautiful and she's talented.
She has such class and elegance. And then, when you're in a scene with her, all you need to do is react to her. because she is so, and the same way with Beth too. Like these guys,
Yeah.
I'm so lucky. Like I always tell them, I'm so lucky to work with them, but they're just, they bring it every single time, and all you have to do is react. And
they're pros. And I want to praise you, Rory, because Ray's death was hard. And I'm telling you, Sharon Case brung it. I'm going to be a little ghetto for that. She brung it. She brought it. And there's a scene with the family at the house, on the ranch at the house, where many of you kids are all there. I mean, and all of you are just so wonderful. Everybody's wonderful. But there's a scene where you're sitting there, and it looks like, and you actually have tears in your eyes, and you don't have that many lines. Like you say a few things here and there. And I was like, so I wanted to ask you, again, powerhouse actors obviously in there, but the show that how do you prepare as an actor when you're not the center of the scene, but you're there to support? Because you were all there to support basically Sharon Case. I mean, that was such a congratulations on the work that you did on that, but just also how do you prepare for that?
So in those scenes, it's funny because even though I remember being more excited for those scenes where I didn't have a lot of lines than when I did have a lot of lines, because I was talking to my uncle about it, and he was an actor and he's a writer now. And at first I was kind of intimidated by it because I was like, those scenes where you don't really get to say anything, you just have to convey stuff physically are so hard. And then he was like, dude, you just got to Steve McQueen it. Like Steve McQueen tried to talk as little as he could because he just wanted to like bring it in that sense, because that's what's more difficult and that's what's going to help you get better. So it was just a little bit of like the ambition of being like, all right, like this is going to be harder than the stuff I normally do because I don't get to just say how I feel or like have this huge monologue where I get to talk about it. So I just try to dig a little deep. And then also you feel a responsibility, especially at that point, because we filmed those scenes. It was like 2 weeks of every day just sharing, like breathing so hard. And I remember talking to her on the last day and I was like, how are you doing? And she was like, I'm exhausted. But I'm proud of the stuff that we got done. Because she was all in. It was crazy. So I remember I tried bringing it initially too, but then after even seeing what she was doing on the first day, I felt a very, very strong responsibility to do the best I could and just kind of be in it for her, because she's just reacting off of all of us. So if I were to go into that a little nonchalant and just kind of like take it in, I feel like I would have been doing her a disservice. So I wanted to do my absolute best in that situation, especially for Sharon.
And you did, because seriously, the camera was on. It would pan to some of you, and it was on you. So yes, she's talking in the foreground, but you're there. And you're right. It has to look real. I mean, this is a family situation. And I said it panned to you at one point. And you had tears in your eyes. I was like, wow, he's really like he's acting. So no, good job. I think that was such a great job. The one thing about you, Rory, is that you do a great job of emoting your emotions on your face. You do. No, you do.
I had this great scene with Faith too. I remember like when you were consoling her and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one. I love working with Ray. She's the best.
She's good. No, she's good. I mean, she came with some big shoes, guys. You know, was good too. And she's really good. You guys do a great sibling thing too. All you guys together, Mariah, it's a great sibling thing. I love it.
Yeah, they help make it easy, especially with all the offset teasing.
Yes.
Ray's always just poking at me. She's always messing with me. Teasing me. And Cammie does the same, but she's so clever that I feel like I don't ever even have a comeback. She's too smart. Right? She's too quick. She's like, her comedic genius is through the roof. I agree. She's so
I know her. I love her. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Now, Kelsey, I want to ask you something, because you're in a storyline about a grandfather. Which is I loved my grandfathers. So I want to ask you, in real life, are you close, or were you close to you? I mean, if you have grandparents, are you close to them?
Yeah, it's so funny because Allie's story in many ways mirrors like what I've personally gone through, and I think that's why this role was so special to me. Was I was actually raised by my grandparents up until I was fully by them till I was 2, because my parents they moved back to Singapore when I was born, and so I was raised by my grandparents in Beijing. so I was 2, and then pretty much, you know, they came, then we all moved to Singapore, and my grandparents picked me up from school, and I just remember I once broke my arm playing monkey bars, and my grandpa just, like, I was so extremely close to my dad's side of my dad's dad, so my dad's side of the family, and then he just ran. He literally carried me. I mean, in Singapore it's small, but he carried me from the playground to the hospital for a 65-year-old man, and he passed away, sadly, like very young. But this is the crazy part. He was a chemistry professor, like a full-on chemistry professor at like the Harvard University of like China. And so the fact that Allie's a chemist, it's almost crazy how my dad's actually a chemical engineer.
Oh, there you go. Oh my goodness.
It's just, the stuff is a little crazy. But I think when I did this with Peter Bergman, just instantly in the screen test, it was so easy because there's so much love I have for my real grandparents, that it was very easy to establish that connection.
So I know we have to wrap up. You guys are at set. I want to mention you. I have a really good friend from Singapore. I learned Slinglish. I learned what that was.
English, that's right.
I learned what that was. I was going to tell you. And I'm so happy that all 4 soaps have Asian representation now on daytime. So that's your part of that.
I
so
know.
happy about that.
Huge.
But Rory and Kelsey, thank you so much for having your time. I know you're on set right now doing stuff. Thank you so much for your time with me. The fans will love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, James.
Guys.
You're the best.
You guys are wonderful.